Hello, Potato, and welcome to Weekend Magic for November the 4th, 2023. It's a new month, and sadly, Halloween is now gone. But you know what? This was the first time since 2019 I set things up for Halloween. And I'm going to say it certainly was a lot better turnout than last year. We had thousands of times more trick-or-treaters this year than last year, but to be fair, last year we only had the one trick-or-treater, so that was a very low bar to beat. But yeah, we had a good amount of trick-or-treaters, not nearly so many as we had candy for, but that's fine. It was like that back in like 2019 as well. I don't think that's a post end of the world thing or the new world we currently are in sort of a thing. I think that's just we've been seeing a steady decline in trick-or-treaters like the entire time we've lived here. Like the first and second year we lived here, we actually like ran out of candy. And the last few years, even pre-COVID, the trick-or-treaters, just get less and less each year. Now, of course, I mean, it was a Tuesday this year, it was a school night, it was a work night, so maybe when we get back to it being on Friday and Saturday in a few years, maybe we'll see an uptick then. But, it was the best turnout we've had certainly since the end of the last decade. But again, that's a very low bar. But doesn't mean we do need to start looking forward to the winter holidays, as the shops have all been doing since September. And I'm not quite totally ready to let go of Halloween here just yet. But of course, the Happy Haunt Hunt is over, and we are going to focus back onto less spooky things, for better or worse. And this week means catching up on our recent pin acquisitions, which does feature our very first holiday item for this year. At least I think it's our first one. I don't recall looking at any other holiday stuff. I could be wrong. Memory is not to be trusted. But first, this past week, Disney had actually a lot of stuff on it. They're clearly gearing up for the winter holidays, as other retailers have been doing, or just maybe a little later. I guess they had like advent calendars and stuff all released like a full-on month ago, so it's not like they're just not getting into holiday stuff. They're getting a lot more of like the toys and the gift things. Like they have things with Toys for Tot tags on them, which I haven't looked in to see. I'm assuming that means you can buy directly from them and send it to Toys for Tots, or if it's suggested for toys, I haven't looked that deeply into it, because if I buy it for Toys for Tots, I'm going to buy it from a physical store and put it in the physical box in the physical store in the physical part of the country that I live in. So yeah, there's just been nothing we felt compelled to buy again this week. Not that that's a problem, because we have stuff we ordered in previous weeks, some of which we're looking at today. And so yeah, it is a pin video. We have our first holiday pins. We have some D23 stuff. We, of course, as you can probably tell from the fact the pin board is here, we do have the 2000s era Disney decade. There's only one more left, and it's in a couple weeks from now, and then this collection will be over. And I'm gonna say it again. This has probably been, since I started doing these collections, which I think would be 2017 is when we started doing these collections with the Disney Store pins, which were really, really nice. And then 2018 we had Mickey Mouse Memories, which was generally really, really nice. And then we had Minnie Mouse The Mid Attraction, which was... No, we didn't. No. Then we had Disney Wisdom, which was, I think, unpopular but decent. Minnie Mouse The Mid Attraction, which was quite nice. Stitch Crashes, which I skipped entirely. Didn't even buy pins for that one. Then Mickey Mouse The Mid Attraction, which definitely, like, kind of took a steep downhill pretty quickly, although some of the keys were quite nice. I mean, no parts of it were total disappointments, but some of the plush really was lacking. And then, of course, that brings us to this year with Decades, which, I'm going to say, I think it's the worst collection since I started doing these collections from originally the Disney Store and now Shop Disney. And this week, we're looking at the first one of these Disney Decades pins. I mean, I've had issues with the fact that, there's no real continuity here. That doesn't look like a series of pins. It just looks like random pins. These don't look like they're actually part of a collection. But I've liked them all. I thought they were all nice. I mean, Maybe Pete's Dragon's a little lackluster, but I thought they've all been nice pins. This week, we're looking at the first entry in decades for the pins that I legitimately am disappointed in. But so let's get on to that by going down there to look at the wee little things. So we'll start off with our D23 pins, looking first at this one, the 25 years of Buzz Lightyear's Space Ranger spin. It's limited edition 1000. You get the little Zerg sensor, you get the little score thing from in your vehicle. Now, I have never actually been on Space Ranger spin, that's what they call it in Florida. And I have only ever ridden the California version, which of course is Buzz Lightyear's Astro Blasters, and didn't exist 25 years ago because it is in the building that used to be the queue for the short-lived and somewhat disappointing Rocket Rods, which I did have the privilege of actually getting to ride. And I mean, it wasn't an awful ride. The multi-hour long line you had to wait in to get to it was a bit of a disappointment, especially because I don't think they actually had. This would have been 2001. I don't think they actually were doing a lot of the rides with the current wait time signs on them. This one I believe certainly didn't, or if it did, it was not accurate. And it looked like a really short line because it entered through the same place Astro Blasters enters through, and you can't see from that point that the entire clump of buildings there is queue, or was queue for it, including going like underground and then up the tower to where I think the Astro Orbiter used to be, to the boarding station. It was the boarding station for the People Mover. And in that crowded queue, you were treated to a room that was actually pretty cool. It was the old Circle Vision Theater, and they were using the screens in a really cool way. Unfortunately, the video they were running was like 90 seconds long, and you were in that room for like 45 minutes. They could have put something a little longer form on it and made it a little more interesting. And then you were treated to Dayglow duct tape and a kind of a cool little museum of disused ride vehicles. There was I think there was a People Mover in there. I think there was an old Astro Orbiter rocket. I'm sure there was a monorail engine shell in there. And then you got on the ride, it was 45 seconds long, and it destroyed the People Mover track, and it was gone in a year. So, that has nothing to do with these pins, because it's not even the right park. I could have done this while I was talking. Let's get them out of their little envelope. I think I know I'm jinxing myself by saying this, but I think I've finally sort of gotten the glare issue on doing these pins under control. There we go. So yeah, it's a limited edition of 1000, so there are only 999 other of these floating around in the galaxy. And I do like them. I like of course, I'm a fan of Buzz Lightyear. Ever since first Toy Story. It's the first Toy Story toy I bought. To be fair, as an adult, the movie came out when I was in high school, so it's not like I bought it as a kid and have it as a treasured thing. I do still have them. Sadly, I think I covered it back in 2020's quarantine logs. I found him in storage in my office closet, and he had a little crack on his leg, which is unfortunate. He's up on a shelf. He's there. You can't see the crack. There's a little Zerg, I think it was a toy box figure, in front of him, hiding the crack on his leg. But he's still standing there. He's still standing after all these years. Yeah, I have never gotten a score like that. I've never had the good fortune to be stopped in a place where you can score. If you watch the video from last year when we rode Astro Blasters, we did get stuck at one point, but it was literally right after the gun shut off. I think the car behind us was still able to keep shooting, and we were not. It was unfortunate. Yeah, so I don't think I'll ever get a score like that on the California version, and I don't know that I'll ever see the Florida version, but they are quite nice pins, very plain, straightforward. I like the reflective surface, particularly on the Zerg pin. I kind of like the Zerg pin better than the Buzz Lightyear-ish pin. Just very, very reflective. I like it. And of course, yeah, it's the targets that the Zerg enemies have on the ride. They are double pin backed each because they are fairly large pins. And yeah, They are nice. Next, look at our second and final D23 pin, and that is the TVA official handbook pin for Marvel Studios Loki, another LE1000. And I haven't opened it up yet. I have not looked. It's a hinged pin, but I haven't looked at what's inside. I'm sure there was pictures online of what was inside. But I like the styling of the TVA stuff. I'm enjoying Loki. I'm an episode behind right now. I have not watched this week's episode yet, but I'm enjoying it quite a bit. Maybe not so much as last season, because last season was kind of all new, and it was frankly more Doctor Who than the last season of Doctor Who was. And I don't really feel like we're getting that. I feel like we're focusing. There's a lot less, I think, mystery this season and a lot more actual storytelling. As where last season we had a lot more mystery and world building, and I was enjoying that. They've got a world now, and they're telling a good story in it. It lacks that sense of wonder that last season had for me. Although I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the building of the King the Conqueror stuff too. Although I believe I've read somewhere that they're going to be kind of retconning some of that. Either they're going to recast him, which would make the most sense, because I mean it's a character that exists in every reality. Why should he necessarily look like the same actor in all of them? Especially when he's got like beards and stuff in various iterations. Or I guess they're just going to kind of sideline him, that seems kind of like it'll be hard to do in a way that doesn't stink. But anyways, so we have our TVA official handbook pin. Of course, the handbook has been very important in this current season. Volume... Oh, I cannot read. Hold on. Volume TM-2469-2 to TM-3863-6 by Ouroboros. There we go. That's what it says on it. So yeah, let's open up, double pin back. We have Miss Minutes back here. Interesting stuff they're doing with that character this year. Of course, voiced by the epic voice actress Tara Strong, a frequent attendee of SAC Anime. And let's see what it says on the inside, or shows on the inside. It shows pie. It shows 1 slice per week. Enjoy 1 slice. Bartering for extra tokens is forbidden. TVA automat. 17 minutes is sufficient. I love the automat. Like, I would love to go to a real automat. If anybody knows of a real automat like in the Northern California area that actually exists, I'd kind of like to check that out. It's like a proto vending machine, and I love vending machines. And the only time I've ever gotten to go to anything even remotely like an automat was way back in the very late 80s when I was a little kid, and I had the good fortune to spend some time in Europe, and there was a Fritz shop in Holland that had like an automat in the side of the building, so that I guess when people were drunk and stumbling home late at night after they had closed, you could pick up a bag of Fritz or a sausage or a burger or something. And that's the only time I ever gotten to like actually see a real automat in person. Otherwise, vending machines are as close as I've ever gotten. But yeah, I love the idea of automats. I love the idea of not having to interact with another person, and I love getting food out of a machine. It just feels magical and futuristic to me, despite being very much a thing of the past. But it's a very, very solid pin. Good solid hinges on it, which is nice, because sometimes like that Scrooge McDuck money vault pin, the hinge on it's kind of weak and it keeps swinging open. You may have noticed I had to close it earlier in the video. Yeah, that hinge on that's not great. This hinge, this is a good, solid, strong hinge. I love it. That means if you were to wear this, and I don't know why you would, but if you were to wear your LE1000 pin on your lanyard or shirt or bag or whatever, that door's not flipping open. It's not going to get caught on things. It's not going to break off. And given that replacing this will eventually be very, very expensive, I think I think both of these pins are actually still available on Shop Disney. We did buy them. We bought them well after their original releases. The D23 stuff sometimes doesn't go super fast because you have to be a D23 member to be able to buy it. And, not everything is, that Pirates of the Caribbean pin that sold out, in an hour. Or in the Haunted Mansion movie pin that I very much lucked into. I think that was a D23 one. It was very much lucked into it. But I mean, it was one that I originally was not going to pick up, but then they released that Lego, that exclusive Lego set, at least exclusive for that moment, on Shop Disney, the little miniature version of Steamboat Willie. So you had to, I think, buy $150 worth of stuff, and you got that kit. And the stuff has all been trickling in like 1 or 2 at a time. These came actually pretty quick for D23 items. But we ordered like some extra Haunted Mansion plates. We ordered actually 2 of the pins in today's video from that, as well as this. I think both of these were also from that purchase. What hasn't shown up yet, they've all trickled in like 1 or 2 at a time. Like both D23s came, I think, in one bag. The next 2 pins came in an entire box each. In these new boxes, these new ones like have pull tabs on every side. It's I kind of like them. It's certainly better than sending them in poly bags, anyways. But you know what we haven't received yet? The Lego kit. I'm thinking we need to contact Shop Disney and ask about that. But of course, then it became available like 2 weeks later at the Lego store up until I think Halloween. I think earlier this week is when it ended. And you had to buy $100 worth of Disney Lego. And unfortunately, it's Disney, excluding all the popular Disney things like your Star Wars and your Marvel and your Avatar and your Indiana Jones. It's things that just say Disney on them. So basically, Princess and Disney 100 stuff. And we've got pretty much all the Disney 100 stuff, at least that we want. And I'm not into mini dolls. And as much as I like that little parade set, I'm not into spending $40 on those 4+ junior sets just because I would like to get a Moana minifigure. But $40 is just more than I'm willing to spend on that, even to get the Steamboat Willie. But it would have been cool to have a spare one to do a video on, because I have the original Steamboat Willie from like 2019 up on the shelf, and maybe I could put the little miniature version with it or compare them to each other. I don't know. It's probably not going to happen at this point, because the Lego store has now switched over to, I think it's Galileo with a $150 buy-in, which is tempting. It is tempting, but I don't know. I know the House of the World 4 is coming up pretty soon, and I probably will need to get that, just because I've ended up with the first 3. I didn't mean to get them at all. And then I got the first one, and then, of course, predictably enough, then I had to buy the others. Anyways, again, much like my rant on the Buzz Lightyear pins, that has nothing to do with this. So let's move on instead to our non-D23 pins, starting with this one right here, a limited release Star Wars pin. This is one my wife picked out. She thought it was cute. I don't think it's not cute. It's just when I first saw it released, I didn't go, "Ooh, we have to have that." But again, you're trying to spend $150 to get the Mickey Mouse thing, which we still haven't received. And this was one of the things that she liked. And it is Darth Vader taking a very, very small AT-AT for a walk, as though it were a dog. Isn't that clever? It's like it's a dog, but it's an AT-AT. It's a very wee, tiny AT-AT. Presumably belonging to very young Luke and Leia. Double pin back, not because it's meant to be held in one place, but because the AT-AT here is actually a totally separate piece. Yeah, so they both can swing around a bit, but at least you're not going to this isn't the dangler or something where it's going to eventually get snapped off due to it having a probably fairly weak chain. It's nicely done, fairly simple, no other special features other than that chain and the little leash. It is not pin on pin, it doesn't light up, there's no see-through bits. It's just a very nice little connected pin of Star Wars, just a little comedic look at the Wars of the Stars. And our next pin is also Star Wars, but it's our first holiday item of the season. We can ring in the ho 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 holidays with this lovely Star Wars Merry Sithmas pin. Let's get that open. This one, so the last one was limited release. This one I guess is just open edition. And it does feature to me, it feels very, very Calvin and Hobbes-ish looking Luke and Leia under the Sithmas tree, which is being weighed down by the force of looks like Death Star tree topper there. Is that a Death Star or is that the interrogation droid? I'm going to assume it's a Death Star, but it's kind of doing the whole Charlie Brown Christmas tree thing. And the kind of neat thing on this one is it is a slider pin. You have Luke and Leia can send a present back and forth using the Force, or at least they could if it wasn't getting stuck on the card. Here we go. Huh? Huh? Ooh, neat. I mean, I guess it's probably, given the canon of the time period, based on their outfits, it's probably just Luke using the Force to send the present to Leia, because of course we don't discover that Leia has Force powers till much, much later. Single pin back. Cute. So yeah, we do have, it's not really pin on pin though, is it? Because it's a slider pin, so it's not a separate layer of pin. It's just an action feature. Any more little jokes on the present? No, I don't see any. Because I hadn't noticed the Death Star there before. I'd kind of been mostly focused on Luke and Leia and Vader, and then the present, and I really just, like, opening it up, just like finally noticed what was going on with the tree there. Yeah, it's a cute little pin. I believe still available on Shop Disney. Honestly, I think possibly everything we're looking at today is still available on Shop Disney, from a combination of being not super popular and being just kind of open release stuff, and still being fairly early in the season for it. And that brings us to today's grand finale, or maybe more of a bland finale, and that is our 2000s era Disney Decades pin set. It's another multi-pin one. We get 4 pins this time. So I see what they're going for here. We're seeing is like the evolution. Buzz does not stay upright. He came upside down. He's been like a fight to keep him upright the whole time. So actually, let's get out, even though it's not glaring, let's get out of the plastic. So here's like the first and probably last nice thing I have to say about this is, much like with the Pete's Dragons one, they do have the ability to take it out of the bag without having to tear that card off the top, which is nice. But again, this feels like a pin or a pin set that was not originally intended to be part of Decades, that they kind of retconned it into Decades by throwing Decades on the label and deciding that, yeah, this fits the 2000s. Oh, there are words back here though. I didn't realize there was words back here. Let's read the words, at least the ones we can read. All right, so maybe we can't read it just yet because the pin backs are actually covering the words. What is this? Oh, it's a frame. Oh, I didn't realize that. So let's look at the front first, then we'll take the pins off and read the back, because this bit up here I've read before. So I didn't realize there was like a Pixar picture frame around it. I'm not sure if that's better or worse, but we'll try to leave it on for the moment. So this does celebrate the kind of like the if Disney had the Renaissance in the 90s, the Pixar like revolution would have been the early 2000s. I mean, yeah, Toy Story came out in like 94 or 95, but I mean, as popular and as big as that was, it really was the 2000s where Pixar really kind of blew up. So we have from Monsters Inc. 2001, we have Boo. 2003, Finding Nemo, we have Nemo. In 2004, we had The Incredibles, we have Edna Mode. And then 2010, we finally got Toy Story 3, which I don't know, I would think, did Toy Story 2 come out in the 90s as well? Was that like 99? It was like 98, 99, wasn't it? That came out. That did not come out in 2000. So yeah, but Toy Story 3, which realistically is probably where the series should have ended. I don't think 4 was bad. I just 3 was a good end point. Unless we're gonna have like a 4, 5, and 6 and have a second trilogy that builds to something else. I feel like 4 was maybe not necessary. But it's sort of so what they're going for here is the evolution of the character from like the early sketches to the final character. And the reason that doesn't sort of work for Buzz is because, of course, that would be from all this concept art would be from Toy Story 1, not Toy Story 3. So it kind of fails on that part. But again, I see what they're doing. We're getting this evolution of character, and we're doing the coloring based on the pencil sketches, which is why Boo is purple and Edna is black and Buzz is green. And Nemo actually is fairly normal because the orange tint on the white doesn't really jump out at you as much as their faces. Even the green on Buzz isn't that obvious to me. But yeah, what gets me, and the reason I don't like the set, is that the purple face and the gray face on these two make them look like corpses. They look dead. I mean, she's smiling, so her face doesn't look dead, but I mean, a young child who looks like she's been deprived of oxygen, is not the best thing. And while it sort of works if you leave it on with the frame on and the backing card on, so you can see, like, the colors, you can see the what they're doing here. Once I take them off here to put them on the board, that will be lost. This is one of those pins that looks better if you leave it on the card, and it'll eventually go back on the card. I'm sure most people will leave it on the card, but I am putting it on the special board that we bought for these special pins, and so they're going to come off the card at least for a while. And well, let's see. Let's take them off the backing. That way, it's the one we can read the words. They are each single pin backed, which I will put the pin backs over there because we are going to put the pins up on the board. I mean, on their own, they're each just individually perfectly nice, competent pins. Nothing to complain about other than the coloring. We have the little gem back here. Yeah, there's a little jeweled Mickey head there. And we do also have the little bumps here to try to dissuade it from spinning so much. They don't really work so much on the card. They might work just on the pin back. But yeah, on the card, they're kind of failures. Edna? I mean, it's a nice enough pin if she didn't look like a corpse. Nemo? Guess we should keep them like on camera for now, huh? Because we haven't moved up to put them on the board yet. And Boo. Also interesting to go with Boo and not one of the actual monsters. I guess because they wanted to do purple, and because they already had green, so that couldn't rule out Mike. They could have done blue and done Sully, though. I don't know, I guess Boo is just considered to be cute. Maybe there's less Boo merchandise, so they thought she would sell better. But see, so divorced from the card, you just have, again, I think especially these two for some reason have these oddly colored faces. It's not a choice I approve of, not that I necessarily know anything, other than the fact that, the customer's always right in matters of taste. But then again, I bought them, didn't I? So, and also to be fair, I don't think really any of the Decade stuff has just been absolutely selling gangbusters. So, yeah. All right, let's read the words now, though. Hey, howdy, hey, relive the worlds of wonder and imagination from Pixar Animation Studios with this set of 4 collectible pins. In honor of the Disney 100 celebration, Disney artists are proud to capture characters from fan-favorite films, Monsters, Inc., Finding Nemo, The Incredibles, and Toy Story 3. Perfect for fans and collectors, this set invites you to experience the joy of films that have taken us from scare zones, ocean adventures, a world of supers, and to infinity and beyond with their magic. Join the fun with these Pixar pals. So you made a reference there to Woody, who's also not part of this collection. Also one I don't feel like gets as much merchandise as Buzz, but I feel that's more justifiable. All right, so let's finish the video off by putting our new pins on the Disney 100 board. All right, there we go. There are our 2000s pins added onto it. I had to do a little rearranging of the board again. I may have to move him over just to fill up that space a bit. We had to do a little rearranging of the board again because I wasn't expecting it to be a 4-pin set. I figured we'd have like another big pin like that. So I had to make a little bit more room down there, but I think we still have enough room for one more really nice 2010s pin, which I'm guessing Frozen. I'm guessing Frozen will be our last pin. But I could be wrong. But that does wrap us up for this week. We have a couple D23 pins, a couple Star Wars pins, including our first holiday item, and I'm going to say the most disappointing Disney 100 pins yet, or Disney Decades 100 pins yet. Because again, divorced from the card, divorced from the concept art thing and the coloring of the card, they just look like very weird color choices for those two characters in particular. And yeah, I don't love it. They are, sorry, to me, the worst pins in this collection. Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments. Let me justify it, though. Don't just say, well, you're wrong, you fat, stupid idiot. Well, yes, I'm void of intelligence. We know I'm stupid. But tell me why I am wrong. Tell me why the gray and purple cadaverous pallors of Edna and Boo are cool and why I'm just missing something. Oh, and that hinge came open again. So that's what I mean. Weak hinge. Weak hinge. At least to a point. It kind of firms up out here. But weak hinge. Strong hinge. Does not come open at all. All right, so yeah, that does wrap us up for this week. Let me know in the comments, what do you think? Which is your favorite pin? Which is your least favorite pin? Am I right about the Disney Decades collection here? Or am I totally off base and something else here is worse? Let me know. Let me know which one you think is worse. Justify why it's worse, though. Because I would put Pete's Dragon probably in second to last place. But I feel the gap between second to last and last is actually fairly large. I feel Pete's Dragon there is closer to whatever's just better than it than that is to Pete's Dragon. I'm going to say it's a hard choice because I don't dislike any of the others. I don't dislike Pete's Dragon. It's not that great. But I'm going to say the third from last is going to be Horace and Clarabelle. It's cool because they're kind of unappreciated, underused characters, but they do the least for me. But again, much bigger gap between these two than these two, or between this and anything else. So I hope you found this video at all interesting or entertaining. If you did, go ahead, give it a like, subscribe to the channel. Are you glad that we're done with the Halloween stuff, with the Happy Haunt Hunt, with the tombstones and the grim grinning ghosts? Because I'm not exactly, but let me know. Let me know what you think. And I do thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.